fantasy?
Oh.
Bye! What'd you fucking say?
Fantasy.
Film fight!
I still don't get it.
Fantasy.
Fight!
You take the pick of the litter.
We take it in turns.
Someone just gotta go first.
And then
The next person.
they just go round and round.
That's what.
We call it
Fantasy.
Fight. You win some, you lose some.
Anything can happen.
So,
Who are you going with?
who you picking?
today.
Fantasy.
Film.
Someday Tony's gonna go live and just show me lip syncing along to that intro. Hi guys, welcome to Fantasy Film Fights, episode number 76 of Fantasy Film Fights, the show where we take a random film topic and we draft it fantasy style. With me, as always, today, my co-host Tony. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing excellent. It's been a lovely week here, beautiful weather. Spent a bit of time at the beach today. It's been good. I'm now very, 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 very tired. So if I do fall asleep halfway through this, just start throwing things at the screen. Hopefully, I might wake up.
Well, I don't think you're gonna fall asleep on today's episode because we are drafting A24 movies and we have some passionate A24 fans on the panel today. Let's go around the horn and meet them all. Right over here, Adelaide Spence coming back on the show. Adelaide, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I will say, I when the sign-up post went out and I commented like, "Hey, here's who needs to go," and me and Aaron were like just ready, raring to fight. So this is gonna be
Yes. Sorry, Scott Harvey, but I hope you're in the chat. But happy to have you here, Spence. Down over here in the corner, Aaron J. returning. Aaron, how you doing?
Hello. I've been here a couple times. I've been waiting for this episode. I know we're in the fan or trivia leagues, depending on our level here with Schmodown royalty here. That was one of the many dogs here, so
Chico.
that was Cosmo. I left Green to yell at Chico for barking already. We're off to a start, but I'm gonna give away a strength. I like A24 movies, guys.
He does indeed. But yes, couldn't think of a better episode to have you on. Down directly below me, my girl, who's in the movie trivia Schmodown with me, the lovely Sabrina Ramirez. How you doing, Sabrina?
I am doing great. I am so goddamn excited for this. The second you said A24, I pushed everything in my schedule to make this happen. So I'm ready to go.
Did. Well, we are very thankful that you did that, and we're happy to have you. And then last, but certainly not least, another returning guest, Mr. Jake Marangoni. Jake, how goes it?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I think the running theme through every time I'm here is that I'm always tired because I woke up like 15, 20 minutes ago. And that's still the case here today. And Aaron's not getting, he's probably been waiting this for his entire life to be on for an A24 themed episode. So this is going to be fun.
Well, yeah, for those of you at home who don't know, Jake is on the opposite side of the globe from us, and we're very thankful that he took time out of his schedule to wake up early and join us. Glad to have you here, buddy. Might as well get this show on the road. Before that we can do that, we got to figure out draft order. Tony, how do we do that?
Yep, so ready to do that. Peggy has a numerical question. Everyone's going to take that stab at answering. Whoever gets closest gets that draft order so they pick who goes first, who gets stuck in the middle, and who takes it in the rear.
All right, so whiteboards or writing utensils and something to write on handy. Your question. Since we are drafting A24 movies, there was once a TV show called 24. How many episodes of 24 are there in existence? Not counting the TV movie, just regular TV episodes. I won't give you a clue and tell you how many seasons there are because I want some of you to be way off. But yeah, closest to the correct answer gets to set the draft order. And
The first season of 24 was so crazy when that debuted. I remember it was like, it's in real time, you guys. Like real time. It's really going.
That should give you a clue of how many episodes. But you need to know how many seasons. All right, everyone got a number down. All right, Spence, we're going to start with you. What'd you write?
I did a little over 7 times 12, 108.
108. Aaron.
I don't know. 192 was the first number that came to my mind.
192. Sabrina.
I went 74. I've never seen this show. I don't know this show.
Jake, what'd you write?
159 sounded like it could be it.
159. And then finally, Tony.
I believe there's 8 series, so times 24. I can't do maths, so 184.
184. Well, closest to the correct answer, even though we didn't want to win, There are 204 episodes of 24.
All right, let me go.
It's in real time. They're hour-long episodes, 24 hours a day. Okay.
You say that though. You never see him go to the bathroom. You never see him sleep. There's not an episode where
Well,
he
they follow other storylines. Like what?
Yeah, there's no holes in that story. There's no way there could be.
It's a
So
good show for you guys who have never seen it.
Yeah.
Tony's drafting today, right?
Yes, Tony is.
Okay. So I'll take it in the rear. I'll go last. Let's have Sabrina go first.
Okay.
Let's have, we'll just keep it. I like to keep it easy. So we'll do Sabrina, Jake, Tony, Spence, myself.
Sounds fantastic.
Also known as clockwise, or if you have the old style on your iPhone, wise. I don't know the name of that.
Old style on your iPhone.
I don't know if Aaron's taking too much or too little weed.
Yeah, just the right amount. I can always go off screen if I have to. But A24 head is on, ready to go here. This is my Marvel. So let's go.
And we are ready to go with the draft. So Sabrina, you are officially on the clock. What is the first overall draft pick of A24 movies?
I am going to go with one of my favorite movies of the last decade, Hereditary, directed by Ari Aster. Yep. This is so absolutely incredible. I just love the way that he takes something that is horrifying, like a cult, something supernatural, but also grounds it with the family aspect of it. Flawless.
All right. Heredity is the first one off the board. Aaron, what is your opinion on this being the first overall pick?
I think this is one of like 10 that I think could legitimately be somebody's number one pick. That's one of the best things about A24. This was on my list. I love this movie. The first time I saw it, I remember going into it with so much hype, which is my least favorite way to go into any movie ever, because it sets you up for failure. So it's like all the, next Exorcist. I'm not saying it's Exorcist or anything, but when I first left it, I was like, that was okay. And then it was like 3 or 4 hours later of talking to everybody who I went to the movie with, to where we all like had to kind of admit, like, this was a little more than okay. We're still talking about this movie. Yeah, it's one I've revisited a ton. Toni Collette, one of the many A24 Oscar snubs, but probably like the top of the list. So that dinner scene alone is just incredible. But yeah, great pick. I'd be shocked if this wasn't on anybody's list, unless you haven't seen it.
About to find out. Did everyone have this on their list? Yes, no?
Oh, easily, yeah. Hereditary is one of the best horror films of the 2010s. Like, I just wish I saw it in the cinemas. Like, that's one of my biggest regrets of the last few years. It's horrifying, especially in the last 20 minutes. Like, there are moments where I just go, did I just see that in the background? And then you just realize what's going on. It's frightening and it's fantastic.
I had sort of consolidated myself to, like, I knew I wasn't going to get this, because for me to be like a third round pick, which I know the panel, I would have been alone in that issue. Like, it's a great movie. It's gotten a lot better, like, the more I think about it, but I know overall, like, I was not going to get this in the draft.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I actually feel pretty similar to Spence, to where, like, I know that there's people who love this movie more than I do. I really like this movie, but I don't quite love it. Like, you gotta separate the, like, upper love with A24. So, but this is, I know objectively this is one of the best. So, I approve of this being the first pick, Sabrina.
Thank you.
I've watched one Ari Aster film. Never watched another one as long as I live. I'm too much of a coward.
Boo. You watch strange things about the Johnsons. Got it.
Interesting film.
All right. Hereditary, first one off the board. Jake, you're up. What you taking with your first pick?
I honestly just could not think of what would be my first pick, because there are so many great A24 movies. It's like, is there even like a definitive first pick? But I'm gonna go with the one that I feel like is, at least to me, the most fun. A title that perfectly encapsulates what a good time the movie is, and that is the film Good Time.
Wow. Very nice.
I was definitely worried going into this movie, because everyone was saying how much fun and how entertaining this movie was, and so I definitely waited until I could get my hands on it to watch it. And then when I watched it, I was just like, shit, everyone's right. Everyone's right about this movie. The way the film just keeps building and building and changing scenery and location and the situation that Robert Pattinson gets himself into is just so like fascinating, and it's just like, how can you see someone screw up yet be so kind of encapsulated by what he's doing? And I just think that it's really entertaining, and I also just love the style that the Safdie brothers kind of create during their run. Especially, I think they kind of perfect it with Good Time. Actually, I think they perfect it with Uncut Gems, but you see a lot of the potential they have in Good Time. And I think, I also just love that ending. Like, it was an ending I was just not expecting at all, and it just makes it such a cathartic in a weird sense. So I'm picking Good Time.
Lots of chiming in. All right. Anyone else have Good Time on their list?
I do like it, but I mean, I almost say every A24 movie that was going to be mentioned, so I'll stop saying I like it. But this was not on my list. I do really enjoy this movie. I mean, again, my list is like 20 of the like 40 or 50 movies. Like, it is a lot of the movies, and this just is outside like my top 20, which seems like a slide, but it really isn't. I love the music in it. I love the use of, I believe it's Josh Safdie in the movie as well.
Yes.
Like, he is awesome. I'd love to see him do more roles. Like, I genuinely felt awful.
Benny.
Oh, it was Benny. Okay, my bad. But yeah, the brothers. Those those talented Jewish brothers. I don't know what me and my brother did wrong to not become the next Coens, but the fucking Brooks brothers, we are not the shoe company. But yeah, no, I also like how the beginning, it starts with the old school Orion logo, like the 80s like style, because it is like very much like an 80s, just like, I feel like I turned it on late night, like when there was cable, a thing called cable before streaming, and just like watch this when I wasn't supposed to. Great movie, and the parts with the kid especially are incredible, and that's something A24 does amazing, is uncomfortable kid moments without making them like exploitive. Like low-key, gross part, but really great.
Yeah, this one was a little bit lower on my list, but I did have it in consideration. I feel like coming out of the gate, the Safdies created their brand of just like ridiculous chaos, sensory overload. And so this one is an incredible rewatch, especially if you want to put yourself through misery, which I like to do often.
That's the Safdie brothers.
Exactly.
Like, I haven't been able to rewatch this quite yet. It's a movie that I watched and it was fine, but it hasn't really stuck with me a lot. I tend to forget about it more often than not, especially compared to the Safdie brothers' other amazing film, which I know will come up today. But it's just, I don't know why, it just never struck me like the way most of the other A24 films have.
I think someone mentioned it in the chat, but it was like Robert Pattinson's like coming out party of him just going, by the way, I'm seriously not the guy from the fucking vampire films. I'm actually an incredible actor in my own right. And then he's gone on to do a few more other things with A24.
Yep. Also, other things that like you're wearing on your shirt.
True. Well, he's still making it.
We'll see how that one turns out. All right, Tony, you're up. What you got?
Right. I got two to pick from. Let me.
Don't do it, Tony.
Please don't do it, Tony.
Don't do it.
Piss him off. Piss him
It
off.
won't even piss me off. I'll just be really depressed, like extra.
All right, I'm going to go for the most recent film I've watched. And it broke my heart and fixed it again in less than 2 hours. It was incredible. When I looked at it, I just went, oh, you got Oscar nominated. That's cool. But it's just going to be two people stuck in together, small confinement. It's fine. It's going to be that. It's going to be the actress is just going to do like, oh, we could do it, Spirit. But it was completely not what I was thinking. It was incredible. And the fact that Jacob Tremblay did not get a fucking Oscar nomination is one of the most baffling things for me. I am going for Room.
Great choice.
It was just everything about it just works so perfectly. Brie Larson can do no wrong, in my opinion, now, and and Jacob Tremblay I'm so angry because when I looked at it last night, I saw that it was like, oh, so you gave it Leonardo DiCaprio finally got his Oscar. You're telling me that like Bryan Cranston in Trumbo deserved an Oscar nomination more than that kid?
Yeah, he was in the bathtub. He dedicated himself to the
Do you know how pruny he got doing take after take in the bathtub? All right, so Room's off the board. What say you, panel, did you guys have this high on your list? Middle? Oh, Spence, go.
Great movie. Great movie. Again, this is probably like a third round pick for me, where it's just like I think I'm a bit removed from it because it has been like 5 years, which is depressing to say. But I know like when the Oscars that year came out, and everyone was going through, and it's like this and Brooklyn for me were like the two, like everyone needs to watch these. They're not like the greatest film ever made, but they're just so they just seem special. And I think that's for me, like that's the narrative I've had since. Like it's a very special movie, and I haven't found anything quite like it. It has such a unique tone and atmosphere, and it's really unfortunate that it's been lost with the incredible quality A24 has created. But this remains one of their top movies.
Yeah, it's not on my list, but a really good movie, and I think one you can show people when they think they kind of have A24 summed up, because I think this could have been, like the greatest like ABC Family Hallmark movie ever, just done by it's like A24 doing a Hallmark like A&E type movie, like it really is, and it just I don't think it didn't quite hit my list, and when I saw it, I was kind of in this like A24 subvert my expectation mode, so I was like slightly like taken aback by how like kind of conventional it was, even though it's like a very unconventional story. Like, but Jacob Tremblay, I assumed he was nominated because that isn't even mentioned like as a nominee snub. So that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page as like Patrick in the chat. Besides Jacob Tremblay, like the story is genuinely really great. When I think of A24, it's just not a part of like the brand necessarily for me. It's one of those like outside ones, kind of like a Hot Summer Nights, kind of like what Aaron was saying. Well, very different, a lot better than that one, I will say. I did meet Jacob Tremblay, and that's the only time I've ever been starstruck is when I interviewed him, because he is just so poised, and he shows it right out of the gate, being so young and absolutely stealing that film.
Yeah, he reminds me of like a male Dakota Fanning back when she was like a child actor. Like, how are you like this like intelligent and you're like 7?
Yep.
I liked the movie. I think it's got moments. I actually think I prefer the second half, because I think it's kind of an interesting scenario we get to see play out after they. I don't know if I can spoil. I don't want to go into too much in the detail, but just in case anyone hasn't seen it. But I do think that it's one that I need to. Yeah, that's right. I need to give it a rewatch because I haven't seen it since 2016 when the Oscars were coming out. But it's I remember thinking it was all right. I definitely got to give it a second watch.
Scott Harvey is correct in the chat, by the way. That's one of the few A24 movies that literally make me like, no.
The poster on Letterboxd said be so excited for the movie, and then it's just like nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, and my next pick will be.
Yeah, on Summer Nights, you can wait till the third round.
I only have 3 A24 films I genuinely dislike, and I would bet 1, if not 2 of them come up today, so I'm terrified.
You are next up, and since everything so far has seemed to be like a third round pick for you, I'm curious, what is your first pick overall?
My first overall pick is probably like the least surprising of everyone. I was scared it was going to be taken before me, and I'm glad it didn't. It's the only one of theirs that won Best Picture, one of 2, I believe, to actually win an Oscar, period. Moonlight is one of the greatest films of the decade. Its quality is untouched. Jake in the chat will help me shout out a buddy of his, one of my favorite composers, Nicholas Bertel, making just like an iconic piece of score. It's like this is a flawless film. It's a movie that when I watched it the first time in theaters, I saw it like a day, like on a night of 2 hours of sleep. So I walked in there and just passed out. Like, okay, this is fine or whatever. I got pissed when I beat La La Land, and I rewatched a couple years later, and I realized, oh wait, no, this is like a monumentally important film for me as part of just like a queer culture, queer movement, and it's its introduction into the pop culture lexicon. This is such a layered and brilliant film, and also socially important, which is everything it needs for me to like pick it as my number 1.
All right.
Yeah, that's on everybody's list.
I am pained. That was my next one. This film is objectively, I think, the best A24 movie. I picked Hereditary, obviously, for like subjective reasons, but this one's easily the best. And so I'm so sad that it's off, but love that it was picked first.
Yeah, great pick, Spence. I kept expecting everybody to take it, honestly. Each pick, I was like, okay, here's Moonlight. Okay, here's Moonlight. Thank you for finally taking it so I can stop just like anticipating that. Chico's going to bark for a minute, so it's part of it. But it is like one of those movies where I don't get the Oscars right a lot, but when I watched this in theaters before, it was like the preliminary hype. So there was some hype, but not like this is going to win Best Picture hype yet. I finished the movie, immediately was like, that's the best movie of the year. I looked at my brother. I was like, that's the best movie of the year. I don't know if it's going to be my favorite, but that was the best movie of the year. Barry Jenkins is incredible. Beale Street Could Talk, also amazing and under-mentioned movie. But yeah, I rewatched Moonlight this morning in preps for this draft. I think it's one of the most beautiful A24 movies too. Just visually, it's really stunning. They easily could have made it 3 movies, yet together the 3 stories don't feel jammed, and I'm glad they did it as one movie. I easily could have watched all 3 of those life stages in their own movie and been like thrilled, but I think it didn't feel overstuffed, and yeah, it's just an incredible Mahershala Ali, just everybody in the movie.
I think it's like the best performances out of like any A24 film as well, even from characters like Jarrell Jerome's and other people that are like kind of like side supporting characters. Just absolutely flawless and incredible.
This was going to be taken early. So good choice.
I knew this was going to be.
It's not getting.
I couldn't wait any longer. Like I needed it.
Than your first pick. You couldn't wait any longer than your first pick.
I didn't know what you were going to pick. You're the wild card here for me.
Oh no,
I know
what hasn't been said about Moonlight. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's hard to bring new to the thing, but it's I love the score. I love the cinematography. I also just love how each like chapter is just on its own, and it's like you just get more information from each one, and kind of goes into like the theme of the movie, how you're in control of your life. You make decisions, and we see those choices throughout each chapter until we get to the third one. And I just think that's a really kind of just amazing way of storytelling that they do. And also it's crazy. I just love that a performance like Mahershala is only in 1/3 of the movie, and it's just it resonates throughout the entire film, so much so that he wins the Oscar for it. Like I just think that shows you how great of a performance that is. But yeah, I knew this was a round 1 pick. I wanted to pick Good Time because I just like that film more personally. But yeah, I think when we look back in the history books, Moonlight is going to be remembered as one of the best picture winners.
Fair. And I was going to take it with one of my picks, Spence, so you made the right choice.
Well, speaking up,
that's why I did the 5th. Everybody knows my first pick. If you know me at all, you should know my first pick. This is the first A24 movie I ever saw. I saw it in theaters with my mom, who's seen like 4 movies since this movie in 2014 or whatever, or 15, whichever year it is. I should know for my favorite movie, but it was the day after the worst breakup of my life. So and still the worst breakup of my life after many other breakups. Since then, still the worst breakup. So after your worst breakup, you feel like you're going to be single forever. You feel like everybody knows, no one cares. But my young self thought everybody cared. Mom took me. It's The Lobster. Yorgos Lanthimos.
Okay.
He is my favorite director that is working today. I absolutely love him. He is so weird. He is so not for everybody. And as are the best A24 movies to me. It's part of why, something like Room, I get a little bit standoffish about because it's too much for everybody, probably. But The Lobster, it's very much a black comedy. It's just, basically about a world where it's illegal to be single, and fresh off of a breakup, it is like the mindset, you could not feel more seen than this movie to go to it, especially pathetically with your mother. Who it's like she was like, let's go to a movie. You're really bumming me out at home when you're back from college right now. And it blew me away. I had no idea what I was getting into. It started just a obsession I have with independent cinema that I was not this person before this movie. There was before The Lobster and after The Lobster. It comes up on my Facebook memories every year when I saw it. I said The Lobster is the best movie I've ever seen in my life. It was my religion. It's my everything. And I've never met anybody else who loves it as much as I do. And I think everybody's got that A24 movie. I think it's a beautiful part of this pick for the first round is everybody went with truly what their favorites was. And Spence's just happened to line up with the best. But at the same point, like I don't think that that's why Good Time was picked. That's why Hereditary was picked. Just The Lobster, it was exactly what I've revisited so many times. It's a flawless film to me. Just everything about it, and I'm very aware it's not for everybody. And when people say they hate it, I get it. For me, it's my favorite movie ever.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a worse movie to watch after the breakup. I'm sure there is. It's just not coming to mind right now.
With your mom.
But,
with your mother.
with your mom.
Yeah.
There was animal abuse very quickly off. My mom's not exactly down with that cause. So like immediately from the first scene when the woman goes and shoots Pony, that's the first 5 minutes. Like she looked at me and like glared at me. So it's the experience of this movie. I'll never forget this. I still bring up with my mom. She still thinks I'm very fucked up for loving this movie so much. She's like, that was awful. Serious, huh? Like she's like, but I mean, Yorgos is my boy.
All right, panel, what say you? Did you guys have this one on your list?
So you made me think, like, I feel like worst first date movies is prime for fantasy film fights, because this is up there. Like, I
like that.
I had a friend that took
to the
somebody on a
topics
date. I had somebody, one of my friends take somebody on a date to see The Green Inferno as a first date. So I feel like that's even worse. That's a whole nother level.
Movies added to the topics options list.
I had a first date and we watched Repo the Genetic Opera together. That was a bad decision. Like I'll be honest, Aaron, if you didn't pick this, I was gonna steal it from you. Like 1,000%.
If I didn't pick this, I'm a complete fraud. Anybody who's ever talked to me, like it's just like this is like, I mean, really, there's not many more, and I'm very proud that it like I'm able to look at it now, much further away from it, and then I'll let everybody else talk. But this is it really is my favorite movie ever. But I'm able to look at myself from 5-6 years ago when I saw this movie now, and able to really laugh at that and how far I've come, and realize how hilarious it is that I ever thought this movie was not parodying those ideas, but actually like justifying them. It's just funny how you meet these A24 movies at different parts in your life, and you have different reads on them. I'll maybe mention it.
For all movies. It goes for all movies, honestly.
Definitely.
It's an amazing pick, and I think you mentioned black comedy, but I just want to like go further into that, where it's like it is strangely hilarious. Like to me, like one of like the core memories of watching this in a theater was me fucking howling when they put like the little iPods in their ears and they're all dancing on the realm because they can't share any amount of togetherness, while also telling like this strangely compelling love story between Vice and Farrell, whereas like they're in the absolute worst situation possible, and he literally tries to date a sociopath just to be better off in life, and he finds someone, and then the world is against them, and it's weirdly endearing through all of the weird fucked up stuff they're going on with, and even balancing it with like that you are literally hunting down the single people. It is that unappealing to us. Like there is, it's layers upon layers. And like I know people don't like this movie and they're fucking crazy. And I get that it's weird, but this is just one of my favorite screenplays of the decade.
Yeah, I've definitely watched this getting into Yorgos Lanthimos' filmography. He's also he's becoming a favorite filmmaker of mine, especially after he did another film that may or may not make this list. I guess we'll see later on. But I just love the way he's able to. I've never seen a film, or especially from a filmmaker, like have a new way of just. It's so the dialogue is just so specific. Sorry, that's my alarm. The dialogue is so specific.
I was like, was that me?
This is when I usually wake up. The dialogue is so specific that I just kind of just love how he's able to create this universe around that, and it's just the world building and the design of the world. I just think that's just so unique and interesting, and it's just for a premise like what The Lobster's going for. You just go, how does someone come up with that? And it's just fantastic to see it plays out on film. It's a fantastic film, yeah.
Yeah, and I went into this not having any idea what it was. We went to the theater, me and my mom, and it was like Saw 6 was playing and like a couple other movies, like this Lobster movie. I didn't know what A24 was before that. Like it's just,
Colin Farrell's got a new film out with Rachel Weisz.
I was like, oh yeah, it looks like kind of like a romance or a ghost story. I can't really tell from the poster, but my mom can handle this one. I should have taken
fisherman.
Yeah, exactly. A real lighthearted romp.
All right, so The Lobster closes out round one. Tony, recap it for the people who joined us late so they know what has gone down already.
Absolutely. All right. So for round one, this has to load. Yeah, Sabrina went first of Rush. You went for Hereditary. Jake went second with Good Time. I went third with Broom. Adelaide went fourth with Moonlight, and Aaron went with Aaron.
Aaron the movie.
All right, round two. Kick us off, Aaron. What are you going with your next pick?
Well, I mean, as much as I do talk about the first one, I talk about this one a fuckload too. Quite a bit. It was by a director who's already been selected today. And so that doesn't quite narrow it down because it could be one of two here. But I am going with the movie that I've seen more than any other A24 movie in theaters. The most psychedelic experience I've ever had in theaters. Oh my God. Once again, felt very seen in this movie, unfortunately. But over time, I've been able to laugh about that. Also, it's Midsommar. Everybody says it correctly now. There was a period of time where people called it Midsummer. And then like some people would say Midsommar. Now everybody has accepted the proper way to say it is Midsommar. The proper way to announce or pronounce Ari Aster's name is Ari Master. People always are leaving off the M from his last name. So I just want to set that record straight. But yeah, Midsommar, just, oh my God. This is the most like authentic representation of a psychedelic trip you'll ever find, just from the visuals and also just how structurally kind of the movie's laid out with regards to the plot. I won't get into plot details in case anybody has not seen this one, but Florence Pugh is incredible in this movie. Florence Pugh face on full display throughout it. I think that, yeah, Jack Rayner is a great return from Sing Street to play a piece of fucking shit who just sucks. Christian. Will Poulter and his eyebrows are on point in this. I don't want to spoil it, but for people who even are not into horror, I think this is one where it is palatable. I think it's crazy enough to where other aspects of it can keep you in there. And I saw this 6 times in theaters. 6 times, and I paid for it each time. So it's like over $100 I spent on this movie in theaters. And
you're single-handedly carrying A24's box office.
Yeah, seriously, A24. If you want to send me any merch, I will wear it forever. You know, but not sponsored yet. But I'm just like, this movie was absolutely crazy. And so often you'll see movies where drugs are taken and it's just not how it is. And as allegedly someone who's maybe taken a drug or two in my day, I feel this was very much done by people who have walked the walk, so to speak. And it just has so many things you can glom onto, and a crowd just didn't know how to react to this. Some crowds were really into it. I saw this with other crowds were laughing right away. But regardless, I mean, the color, the daytime of it all, and it's just, this movie was absolutely wild. I love it. It's close to my top 10 of all time, honestly. Like Midsommar is seriously just, it's so fun to rewatch, and like when you get in a room with other people. This is a movie I found many more people who like and like love it like I do. So when you get in a room with like other crazy Midsommar people, it's like y'all just start talking about your traumas and like why you relate to like Danny, and just like, yeah. But Ari Master, I will go to every single one of his movies. I can't wait for him and Joaquin. Yeah, it's just like, come on.
I saw this one. Oh, sorry. I saw this one after a breakup. It was the most cathartic experience ever. My first ever breakup. I went to go see Midsommar, and it was such a goddamn blast. I like Ari Aster is so freaking good at grounding all these horrific supernatural elements and adding all these different things. So of course, we're still dealing with some of the stuff that we saw in Hereditary with like family trauma and different things like that. But then also this shitty relationship. And for somebody who came out of a shitty relationship, I was like, this is everything. Florence Pugh is so incredible. This was the second time I had seen her in a film before. And I was just absolutely blown away. It sticks with me. It's going to be my Halloween costume this year. Of course, I'm going to be Danny, and Brandon is 100% going to be Christian in a bear suit.
I'll give Brandon a push if he needs it. Sorry, that got weird. Oh boy.
Well, that reference was lost on me because I still have only seen the first 10 minutes of this movie because I was in a shitty mood one day, and then I messaged like a bunch of the family members. I'm like, "What the fuck am I watching?"
Yo, the first 10 minutes is not
like,
the whole
"Don't
movie. I
do
promise.
that."
There's lights
I
in the
know.
movie and not snow the whole time or asphyxiation. Like,
Yeah, the coolest thing about Midsommar too is that it has such a light pastel color palette and everything is so bright, and that's what makes it even scarier because everything's happening in broad daylight. Basically, you can see anyone that's making like weird faces, people standing in the background. It's just like chilling.
and it's so fun to rewatch too. There's so much to see, so much foreshadowing and everything. And now everybody else can talk. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, watching this for the first time, it's like, okay, I think I get what Arias is doing, and then the second time is, I highly recommend everyone, if you've seen it once, see it again, because you'll notice shit in the background where you go, wait, did I just see that? Specifically in the clouds. That's all I'll say. But I just think that this is, I don't know if I made this up, but didn't Arias say he wanted to make a horror movie that was set during the daytime? That was something that he had tried to do, that he wanted to try and see if he could make a film that was scary? Because I know night is always associated with horror, and I think his idea was to try and just make a horror film that was completely different. And I just also remember watching it and going, man, Jack Green is kind of good in this movie. I still haven't seen Sing Street, I'm sorry. But I just remember him as the guy from Transformers Age of Extinction, and I thought he was terrible in that. So it's good to see him actually give like
He's
an actual
fantastic in
good
Sing Street.
Oh my God, dude.
I gotta
See
get
Sing Street, please. That is.
I gotta see that movie.
I have a weird story about this. So, Sabrina, I'm not sure if you remember, but like when this movie came out in Southern California, there was a 7.0 earthquake that hit that weekend.
Oh yeah.
I watched this opening weekend, and I won't spoil it for Peggy. The first cliff sequence, the second I get the earthquake, and I'm like, oh
wow.
fuck. Some demons coming to destroy my life. like every scene, even the screen was just shaking back and forth. I didn't know it was going to happen. So very just like
That's
core sense memory of like this movie scared me more than most people. it's so fucking good, and I think I'm always going to have that connection because of that connection of just full body terror and connecting it with the film. But it's immaculate. Almost would have been my pick if you took what my next one was going to be, Aaron.
Yeah, we can trade Midsommar for Moonlight if you want.
No.
Okay.
For me, the weird thing about it when I was watching it is that a lot of the stuff that they were doing, not the weird creepy stuff, but like the May Queen and the pole dancing, not that pole dancing. That's things that happen.
I don't know what a maypole is.
Yeah, that's stuff that happens in my community. We have May Queens every year and stuff. So I was watching it just like, holy shit! Just like, I don't like this. This is like a small part of my community that's on TV. And also the fact that William Jackson Harper has now been typecast as neurosis, can't write a thesis. Yes, please.
All right, so Aaron takes Midsommar. We got to speed it up a little bit because we're only one pick in round two, and it's almost 40 minutes in, and some people have it hard out. Spence, what you got?
The other one that won an Oscar, Ex Machina. No build up. This is the film that I might have seen the most times, or it's up there. I've seen it like 4 times. And each time it's a movie that I love because I think it has such a smart and well thought out screenplay, and it sort of broke the mold of me. Where like this and Annihilation, which unfortunately is an A24. Alex Garland can do no wrong. He is a filmmaker who everything he has touched, I have loved to pieces, and this is it. It has given me some faith that like Donald Gleason as an actor broke out Oscar Isaac. Alicia Vikander is an absolute goddess. Like everything in this film is perfection. After here is where I get into my weird shit. But for me, these two are untouched, top tier.
I wouldn't go so far to say that broke out Oscar Isaac. I think he had broken out long before that. But other than that,
I didn't know him before then.
Of course, this is Joseph's favorite movie. This is how Joseph was made. But yeah, Ex Machina is like set, I think, sci-fi to like where it's at now and the direction it was going. I think Alex Garland kind of set it in that direction. But this wouldn't be in my top 5. It's more one I admire than that I even find myself going back to a lot. So maybe I need to revisit it. But I do love it. Great pick.
Yeah, this wasn't my top 5, so I am heartbroken again. scrambling to pick other ones. But this one, I think is just absolutely so fantastic. It's so rewatchable. And you can talk about this movie for hours on end and just continue the conversation and not have any speed bumps at all. It is absolutely incredible what Alex Garland did with this, and then Annihilation, and then moving on to Devs. Just absolutely love his work.
I really like the way that this film adds to the idea of artificial intelligence. Like, 'cause I'm trying to remember the timeline of A24, but this was like the first big sci-fi movie that they did, because a lot of their films earlier were like a lot more grounded, a lot more fantastical. This one, I like that it went more for the scientific kind of point of view, and the kind of idea of what Oscar Isaac talks about, how he had to create the brain, and I just really like sci-fi techno mumbo jumbo. It's just, you just kind of get so invested in how he's like the whole test of what they're doing, the whole Turing test, and how you kind of find out more information throughout, and how there's sinister motives going on. And I also just think it's anchored by a fantastic performance by Alicia Vikander, who like just really perfectly portrays this AI, and that's kind of becomes the Turing test in and of itself, when the audience becomes invested in Ava's kind of character, and I think it works really well. And I just also love that ending. It just adds so much to the conversation of what happens next, which I think is cool.
Yeah, I told myself during the pandemic I was going to learn the dance routine. Still haven't done it. But what did he say?
That's a party trick right there.
All right, Spence takes Ex Machina. Tony, what you got?
All right. So I'm gonna pick this one because I just want to talk about it. So, probably one of the best people working in film today is Asif Kapadia. I can never say his name right, but he did Senna. He did some Maringoni thing, and because Senna. I do, but I love this one even more, especially because the 23rd was the 10-year anniversary of Amy Winehouse's death, and there was a lot on television about talking about her, like new documentaries and stuff like that. And then they played Amy, and it just reminded people, just like, not only is her tragic life, but also this is one of the greatest documentaries of the 21st century, and Asif can do no wrong. Amy is incredible.
All right, Tony takes Amy. Who had this one on the list?
That's a great pick.
Not on my list, but great choice. A24 needs to do more documentaries.
Everyone needs to do more documentaries.
Yeah.
I've yet to see it, unfortunately. I do want to get into his documentaries. I've heard interesting things about Amy. I think it won the Oscar, right? So that should be good enough for me to be able to watch it. So, yeah.
I saw half of this on a plane, and it was really good. Never saw the other half, though.
You fall asleep.
It gets a bit worse going forward after that second half.
It's not a happy ending, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
All right, cool. Amy's off the board. Jake, what are you taking for your second pick?
I'm between two. I should be able to get the next one after. I'm gonna pick my favorite Yorgos Lanthimos film, and that is The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Aaron just went, nope.
Yeah. Sorry, Aaron. This is the one that I went in now officially knowing who Yorgos was, and after seeing The Lobster, and he has a style of filmmaking, and going into it and just being kind of enthralled by the story. I think that's one thing that not a lot of people talk about is Yorgos is a great storyteller. He's able to create these kind of like these disturbing yet fascinating stories. The Lobster, I think, is more interesting in its concept, but I think Killing of a Sacred Deer, through its cinematography and music choices, just makes me kind of just on the edge of my seat, just going, what is going to happen? Like, I just could never guess what was going to happen throughout the movie. And the stages of this curse that Barry Keoghan has put on this family is just like, what the hell? Like, first they lose control of their feet, and then they don't start eating, and then they bleed from their eyes. It's just like,
could be a 5-pointer, Peggy. That could be a 5-pointer. Listen to that. That could be a 5-pointer.
But what happens throughout the movie, and it's just like, holy shit, and I just couldn't. My jaw just dropped for like the entire movie of just going, what's gonna happen next? And I also just really love Raffi Cassidy in the movie and Barry Keoghan and their really weird relationship in the movie, and especially how it kind of ends at the end of the movie where Barry Keoghan's in a basement and he's being beaten up by Colin Farrell, and then you just see Raffi Cassidy just crawling down the stairs. It's just like, what the hell? I absolutely love this movie. Yeah.
I haven't seen this one, so panel, have at it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Yorgosing all over the screen. This one, it was just, you have to just like laugh to let out the kind of the tension at some points. It's not even funny what you're seeing. It's just so like fucked up. I mean, the pillowcase scene, it's just like, it is just like Funny Games vibes. If you've seen Funny Games, like it is just like one of those dark horror films for sure. I just loved it. Yorgos has a way of directing people in movies to where it's like aliens pretending to be humans on screen, and it really rubs a lot of people the wrong way. I'm going to ignore the Wes Anderson hate coming from Jake because that's just not needed here.
That's not needed here.
Yeah, it's not welcome on the A24 chat probably. Yeah, I love this movie. Again, I really understand people who hate this one. Like, I actually kind of judge people who like this. So, but I'm one of them. So,
That's good.
So
This
Aaron,
is actually.
go ahead.
Oh, this is actually what I was gonna say. Probably my favorite Yorgos film. So that's a really great choice. Not on my list personally, but love it.
I'm glad that Aaron's a big fan of me because I don't really like this. I will say I probably need to rewatch it because I've changed a lot since this came out. But like this to me at the time felt weird for the sake of being weird and didn't have much to say. It was just weird shit at the wall and see if it sticks. But I probably would like it more now. But I didn't like it 4 years ago.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat with you. I watched it and it's like without knowing much about Yorgos Lanthimos, without watching The Favourite or anything like that, and it was just like, this is just weird. What the fuck is Nicole Kidman and Alicia Silverstone doing here? But
yeah, it's definitely weird. There's no argument there. And it's funny how when The Favourite came out, everybody was just so relieved that Yorgos didn't write a Yorgos directed movie. Everybody's like, finally, the dialogue is nice. Like, so great. I love Yorgos. Go back to writing your own movies.
All right, Killing of the Sacred Deer off the board. Sabrina, it's been a while since you've had a pick. What is your number 2 pick?
My number 2, this was solid. Nobody picked this, so I'm so happy. A Ghost Story from David Lowery. 100%. As a writer, I always look to like dialogue in film, and this was the craziest experience that I ever had of watching something that has so little dialogue that I am enjoying so much. It is insane. It is cerebral. There's just so much in it. I feel this wave of emotions, and whenever I want to experience that, I throw on this film. So I've rewatched it so many times. I think it's such an incredible performance from Rooney Mara. The scene of her eating the pie, I'm like, I get it. I understand. We've all been there. We've all been sitting on the floor eating a pie for like 9 minutes.
Yeah,
Pie, pint of ice cream, sheet cake.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. It was on my list. Yeah, definitely in my top 10. Just the way that it kind of in 90 minutes achieves so many different time periods too, I think is like a very underrated aspect of this movie. It felt like it was much longer, and I mean that in a good way. Like, I don't mean that like it dragged at all. It's just David Lowery is so patient yet efficient with his filmmaking that the simple visuals of a guy with a sheet over him. I mean, it's like one of the most iconic like A24 like images I think that there's been in any of the movies, and it's kind of amazing in a movie like that.
Like, it's the most heartbreaking thing when you see that. And I don't want to spoil it, but my favorite moment is when there's the two ghosts in the sheet, like looking at each other from afar. And it's like, I'm waiting for somebody who I don't remember. And I don't know, that breaks me every single time. I love it so much.
So remember how at the top of the show I said this is like there's 3 A24 films I don't like, sort of hate. It's one of them. Like, just nothing happened. I will just preference every opinion I have horrendous ADHD.
And they hate any like day in the life movies. Like, just
that
like,
too. Slice of life sucks. Hate it. Nothing fucking happens. Nothing happens.
It's like a slice of like 1,000 years
movie. what the fuck is that? Like, I
love
think
day-in-the-life movies.
I need to watch more Lowry. Like, I'm excited to watch The Green Knight. I probably like Old Man and the Gun, but holy shit, I have not felt so apathetic to a movie in such a long time. I wish I liked it more, but it just does not work on any level for me.
I'm kind of on the same page with Aaron when he was talking about Yorgos before. I understand. I get it.
It's not.
I told myself that when The Green Knight comes out, I would go through all of David Lowery's films because I haven't seen a single David Lowery film, and I feel ashamed that I have not seen The Ghost Story because it feels like it is right up my alley. I love that weird existential philosophical shit. That is my shit. But The Green Knight isn't coming out here, unfortunately. I don't know when A24 took it off the release schedule, so unfortunately I have to wait a bit longer. So once it does come out, I'm going to marathon all of David Lowery's films because I really want to watch it, and I really want to watch Green Knight. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I do want to watch this movie so badly.
Yeah, so I could have saved this one for a while.
Maybe. I mean, maybe not. I might have.
Yeah,
been
true.
It's all right. You're about to have another pick. But
Ooh,
we gotta
okay.
wait for Tony.
Are we doing a recap?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we're doing a recap of round 2, and then we'll go.
Here we are. All right, so for round 2, Aaron went first this round. He went with Midsommar. Adelaide went second with Ex Machina. I went third with Amy. Jake went The Killing of a Sacred Deer. And Sabrina went with Ghost Story.
You kind of see people's viewing aesthetics start to emerge, start to form. All right, Sabrina, what are you going with for your round 3 pick?
All right, we are back, and I am going with another film that is definitely very, very divisive, and a lot of people trash on it, and I don't care. I love it wholeheartedly. Under the Silver Lake, directed by David Robert Mitchell.
I thought that was going to be your first pick.
I honestly did too.
It had to end up on the list, so I got my first 4. Moonlight was my number 3, and then that one obviously was taken off. So these are my top 3 that I have left, and I'm very, very excited about that because I think this film is ridiculous, ambitious, neo-noir taken to a whole nother level. So much of it, like there's a whole Reddit thread. I haven't even gone through all of that because I've just been trying to find as much as I possibly can myself. But that's the fun in it, is that we're put in the same situation as our main character, Sam. And of course, Andrew Garfield. I am a sucker for Andrew Garfield. I don't care if the movie's bad. I will watch him in it.
Same.
Wow, I never heard anyone be such a hardcore Andrew Garfield stan before, honestly.
Hardcore.
Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Great
I'm
take.
more a fan of Oscar Isaac and One Howl.
Joaquin Rosado. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, why not both?
I
Yeah, this is definitely on my list of 10 here. Unfortunately, A24 seemed embarrassed about this movie and kind of held it back from being released in theaters. I ended up having to see it on Amazon Prime the first time. It was very weird, and it was around the time when Harvey Weinstein stuff was starting to come out, and that's my theory on it, is that it was attacking kind of the sub-sex culture of Hollywood and everything a little bit too real. And they're just fuck this shit. The piano scene is one of my favorite scenes in A24 history. I just am that was such a cool scene. It's just if you're under a certain substance as you're watching this scene, you really do feel like he's coming out of the TV and talking to you. And he's just it's wild. I mean, there's so much. I've watched this one quite a bit also. It's just it's another one of the most visually beautiful ones for sure. I mean, the color saturation is up to 1,000,000. I prefer it much more to It Follows. It Follows I liked fine, but I found kind of annoying and more appreciated the concept than the actual execution. This, I was just well, at least that movie got him to get to do this. And it's just great movie though. Great selection, Sabrina.
Thank you.
I have only seen this movie once, and I feel like this is one of the few films where it needs a second viewing to fully understand the entire what's going on. And I went into it thinking that it was going to be, this is a murder mystery. This is Andrew Garfield. He's doing a Robert Pattinson. He's going to star in a legitimate movie after doing a franchise and become a legitimate actor. And then the second, Riley Keough was barking like a dog in the pool. That's when I was like, okay, I should just my expectations for this movie just throw it out the window. This movie's trying to be something else, and I appreciate that a lot. Especially, I just also love that this is completely different to It Follows. It Follows is like such a grounded. You think that he's gonna make films like this, and Under the Silver Lake is like this bold, ambitious project with a completely different score by Disaster Piece. I want to say some guy did the music because It Follows and then Under the Silver Lake, completely different music, and it's just I just love that it captures that Hollywood feel, and the scene with the musician is like incredible. Like that is so good from the beginning to the very end, which I won't spoil, but that whole scene is just amazing. Yeah, this movie you need a second viewing. I didn't have it on my list just because I've only seen it once and I want to watch it a second time and get more about it because it's one of those films that you become enthralled in the mystery and you want to figure out what's going on.
I actually haven't seen either of David Robert Mitchell's films, and Aaron can attest to this. In the Fun DMC group, I literally said, "Hey, what should I watch?" And the first thing he said, like, "You know what? I'll do it." And I didn't get around to it, but I really want to watch it. It looks so fucking cool, but I haven't been able to get around to it.
It's okay. Nobody's seen it. A24 like worked so hard to make sure nobody would watch this movie.
They market weird shit. Why would they? Well, like that is a very A24 film.
Yeah,
it was like a very un-A24 move for them to do that. Like, I remember I saw some random YouTuber who like reviewed it and is like, this movie's amazing. Everybody go see it. And then I turned off the review and went inside. I was like, oh, this is a great movie.
Yeah. All right. Jake.
Oh, it's
round
me.
3. What you got?
Yeah, I'm going to continue picking movies that I like.
Oh, yeah, that's how it should be.
That's kind of how the show works. I'm just trying to think
from your heart.
Pick from my heart. I am going to go, I think I'm going to save the next one later. I'm going to pick a film that I had heard a lot about and was kind of curious behind it. And that would be Paul Schrader's First Reformed.
Oh, nice.
I went into this just knowing Ethan Hawke and that it was about as broad of a concept religion. And then I go into the movie and it's like, okay. And at the end, I realize it's much more than that. The whole film's kind of about radical ideas and how they can infect people and how it can change their perspective on their ideals and situations. Oh, someone's happy. And I just think Ethan Hawke is so fantastic in this movie. This is like one of my biggest snubs at the Oscars for the past few years. I just don't understand how they could not nominate him for a performance like this. Like, Ethan Hawke is a fantastic actor. I just think this one just really showcases kind of the depth and the layers that he has as an actor. It was also just great to see Amanda Seyfried in a movie after, like, it feels like she hadn't been in a movie since, like, Red Riding Hood or something, or Pan, you know?
She was in Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. Chill.
But that's around this time, but like, but it was good to just see her like back again. And I just really love the visual style of this movie, the aspect ratio, and just as the movie slowly goes on, you start to something's clearly wrong with Ethan Hawke physically, and that kind of also deals with the environmental theme that the movie's going for. I think this movie's it's a slow burn, but it takes its time. I think it's great. A film that I absolutely adore.
Yeah, definitely slow pace. And you guys, if you don't know already, you should know I'm a huge Ethan Hawke fan, so I'll let you guys discuss. But
yeah, for me, this occupies a very rare circle of film. And I'm gonna like it more than I'm gonna say I am, or more than it sounds like it. It is a rare film where the second act is the best part. So I think the first and third don't really work. I think everything up until he finds the bomb, fine, sort of pedantic, not really there. And I think the kiss at the end is super weird and just doesn't work with the overall film. But everything in the middle, with balancing like these really radical ideas of like religion and guilt and environmentalism and domestic terrorism, is fascinating. And Schrader's screenplay is fucking brilliant and so engaging. But if it just had a better first 15 minutes, perfect film. Nearly perfect. I just can't get into that first little bit with her and the boyfriend.
Yeah, this is on my rewatch of like A24 movies. I've only seen it once. And I do remember, like, it took about maybe 30 minutes or so for me to kind of fully get into it, maybe my own biases against kind of this sort of, like, subject matter. But I just do think it's a very underappreciated, but not on my list. I know we have to keep moving forward, but that's all.
All good. All right. Tony, what are you taking with your third round pick?
All right. So people tell me I should stick to one-word answers. However, I'm not picking Tusk. I'm sorry. It's not happening. So I'm gonna get on my soapbox here and shout about British film because fuck it, it's my channel. Because I fucking hate the BAFTAs. I hate it with a passion because the BAFTA award for outstanding British film is a weird as fuck category, but it does not make any sense as to why people get nominated for it, let alone win. Because this year, Promising Young Woman won, which great film, deserves accolades, not a British film. Whereas Saint Maud is not only a British film, it's one of the best horrors of the last 20 years. It does some incredible work with Rose.
Rose Glass.
Yep, Rose Glass, who just like deserves all the credit in the world for being like, yeah, I'm just gonna make the most batshit insane film I can as my first out of the box, and if this is the only film I ever make, I've made my film. And it just is so creepy, and just everything about it just works so well, and the allegories to religion it's one of those ones where you just go, this shouldn't be your first time writing and making a film. You should have been doing it. You should have been portrayed. You should have been doing this for 40 years. Martin Scorsese should be loving you. But oh my god, it's so amazing.
Great pick, Tony. I would not expect you to pick this. Like, good for you for making it through it. The shoe scene is the scene that stole it for me. I felt that. Like, literally felt that when she was taking those steps. So, yeah. Like, great choice, though. I forgot about this one to even consider it.
I forgot that this one was an A24 movie, and I feel like this one also flew under the radar a little bit too. But I'm a huge fan of like psychological horror, especially when they're tackling such complex and compelling themes and things like that. So yeah, this is a really good one.
I think the reason that is sort of what's buried is because I think it was COVID sort of screwed it up, and it had like a 2-year delay. Mm-hmm. I think Brittany got a little bit early, but yeah, I haven't been able to see this yet, and I really want to.
Yeah, I need to see this movie, unfortunately. I haven't seen it yet.
Good choice, though.
I just want to say A24 releases in Australia suck. Unless it's like the big films like Minari or Killing of a Sacred Deer or like the big ones that they're trying to push.
You guys
of course we had to get that. Okay, Guy Pearce is in there now. But we, there's a certain films that, especially if they're the under the radar A24 films, they just unfortunately will not get released here, and that really, really sucks. But yeah, definitely need to watch this.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one. I can't comment.
You should watch it, Peggy. I just want to see your reaction.
Yeah. Put on your favorite pair of Chuck Taylors, or Converse, they should say.
I wear Jordans. No.
Well, nothing happens with Jordans in the movie. She's not a Jordan gal.
Okay, St. Maud's off the board. Spence, what are you going with your number 3 pick?
I am back on the basic bitch train because if everyone can agree on one of their best films, I think we can all agree. Back to the Bo Burnham conversation, 8th grade. It is amazingly emblematic of my generation, even though it's like a little before my time. It speaks a lot to like the anxieties we went through with like the prevalence of social media and this desire to not to like be older than you are. And Kayla's absolute disconnect from the rest of her peers, something just I relate to a lot. Elsie Fisher, they gave a great performance, and it's something I don't think they'll ever like truly like live up to, since they haven't like strived to be a stronger actor or like a more consistent actor. But just this is such an amazing time capsule of the 2010s, of the shit a lot of people my age and younger went through trying to find their place in the world. And just speaking of, I think A24 creates not only some of the best screenplays, but some of the best scenes. Truth or Dare is one of the most scary fucking things you can ever put in a film, just because it is humans interacting and the base human desire, primal fucking fear going on with high schoolers. Absolutely terrifying. Bo Burnham created one of the finest films of 2018, I think it was. Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, I like this movie, and I know it's just supposed to be kind of painfully awkward at this point in life because everyone was at that age. But just like the stay Gucci, like that part kills me. Sorry, Tom, but yeah, I hate that. Oh, I hate it.
Yeah, this really, I can't even imagine like being in middle school, junior high, or high school right now while like TikTok and all of this stuff is coming out. That's a whole nother layer because I remember when I was in high school, like Instagram came out. I think my like freshman year of high school. So I
was in high school, internet came out.
Yeah, like I was in high school. Like, they needed CDs for my internet.
But I feel like I've never really seen a film capture what it's like to be growing up with like social media, and especially social media that evolves every single day. And when something new is introduced constantly, whether it's new features or a new app, and also just how awkward everything is, like Peggy was saying, like not covering up like her acne or not like making these things to make it feel authentic and completely relatable. And I think that's so important for like younger kids to watch, because a lot of the times we're watching like teen dramas like Euphoria. Like she's supposed to be like a year or two younger than them. I love Euphoria, but obviously they have to hire adults because of the subject matter and things like that. And you have this different perception of what you should be like and what you should look like and what you should act like. So it's cool that people have like 8th grade to look back on for a coming of age film.
Wait, so really quickly, are we allowed to pick like the 2 Euphoria specials on this list?
No.
Remy.
I forgot how good. I forgot those came out at the beginning of the pandemic. Those are great. But good pick also, Spence. But both Euphoria specials are better in 8th grade.
Yeah, I definitely had this in consideration. I just love that this perfectly captures, like, this is just a little bit before my time in high school, but it just captures that, especially with the the digital world and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and I also just love that. I just love that it captures even the small moments, like when they go to the mall, when Elsie Fisher goes to the mall, and with the older kids, and she's just like doesn't really add anything to the conversation. It's just like, because with characters who are shy and nervous, that just is what happens. You just kind of just don't really know what to say. And I've been in situations like that in high school where it's just like, yeah, I'm just hanging out with these guys and I'm just not really here. I'm just there like, hi, I'm just not saying anything. It captures those small little moments, which I really like. And yeah, that whole truth or dare sequence is frightening. It also just feels so unfortunately real, which is just makes you so uncomfortable. But also it uses Enya in the movie, and if you use Enya, I'm gonna be all for the movie. Orinoco Flow is great. Yeah.
I think one of my favorite quotes about this film was, I just saw it great. Thought it was one of the best films about adolescence I've seen in a long time, maybe ever. From Molly Ringwald, who knows a tiny little bit or two about adolescent films.
Fair enough. That's good endorsement there.
Okay, 8th grade's off the board. Aaron, close out round number 3 for us, please.
All right. This is the David Lowery round because I'm going with the newest A24 film. I've seen it 3 times in theaters in one weekend. Dev Patel plus A24. I was going to love it. I'm not going to spoil this at all, but it's The Green Knight. If you can see it in a theater, go see it in a theater like now. Turn this off, watch the rest of this later. Go see Green Knight as soon as possible. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel also. But like seriously, this movie is incredible. The visuals, the score, the story, Dev Patel's performance, all the above. And I just don't want to say anything else. I've never seen anything like it. And it's just like, I get scared as A24 has become a little more mainstream that they're going to start becoming like a caricature of themselves. They're still the same A24. So that's all.
I haven't seen it yet. Sorry, I haven't seen it yet. I've heard nothing but rave reviews from those who have. Has anyone on the panel seen this one?
I've seen it twice, so almost as many times as Aaron, but this is something that I absolutely love this film. I am a fan of David Lowery's work, whether it's something like more like The Ghost Story or Green Knight or even Ain't Them Body Saints and The Old Man and the Gun. But I think he truly, truly matured his work to a certain level that I didn't know somebody could do at the young age of 40. He's established enough, but he's still so young in his career. Like, as a director, this is something that you think somebody would be working in the industry for decades to achieve something like this. It is so meticulous. It is so masterful. That's an absolutely excellent choice.
You guys laugh, but 40 is young. 40 is
It is young,
Oh.
especially for a director like that. Yeah.
For anybody, there's no preface. 40 is young as
No,
hell.
but
Whatever. Like, you don't know when you're turning 24, it's a big deal. But trust me, 40 is coming. Anyways,
and faster than you think it will.
so fast. Every year goes by faster than the last. Time is a flat circle.
I haven't even the last year, and I still say like 2019 is last year. Like,
Yeah.
I have not felt any.
Oh,
of
I still
this
think
right now.
2007 was like last year, so don't worry, it doesn't change. Like, I'm still like 2007, right? You know, like, just
Everyone still listens to Usher.
I'm so old.
I still listen to Usher.
Yeah.
Although I still have now, that's what I call music CDs. So take that for what you
Why? For what reason?
Spotify exists. But just go back to Green Knight for a minute. It doesn't come out for another 2 days of here, but from what I've heard, it's like the greatest Arthurian legend retelling that there has been on cinema, which is great because when Monty Python and the Holy Grail is the best adaptation of that, you've got an issue because there's not been a single good one.
Yeah, I have so many I love, and this is already in that upper echelon, and it's going to continue to move forward. I already have the poster being ordered to my house. I love Dev Patel so damn much. God, I love Dev Patel.
So hot. And talented, but hot all the same.
He's hot and talented. He really is just everything I need.
Not fair. All right. That closes out round number 3. Tony, recap time. If you'd be so kind.
Absolutely. All right, so Sabrina, my first round, she went with Under the Silver Lake. Jake went second with First Reform. I went third with St. Maud. Adelaide went fourth with 8th Grade. And Aaron went 5th with The Green Knight.
Jesus Christ.
Round number 4. Where are we going next, Aaron?
This is brutal. Oh my God. I have so many
Two more
different
picks.
movies. I have so many different movies I want to pick here. I'm just going to keep it short here. I'm going to go with my favorite Robert Eggers movie. It's so close. I actually have the script for the other one. I'm not going with that one. I'm going with the black and white 4:3 aspect ratio. Perfect summation of what the pandemic has felt like to us all. It's The Lighthouse, Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson, falling in love with each other, fighting each other, almost kissing, and then not kissing and fighting. Like, oh my God, there's so much cum in this movie for everybody who complains about not enough cum in the movies. Just like
That's what the people
mermaid
demanded.
vagina for the people from Art or Shape of Water who said there's not enough fish sex. We have that. The final shot in the movie is horrific and has been burned into my mind since I've seen it. Don't fuck with the seabird. I would fuck that steak too, Robert. This movie is fucking bonkers.
You're not fond of me, Lobster?
Oh my God, that whole scene is heartbreaking. All he wants to know is that he likes his cooking. He's like, you're just drunk. You're just saying that because you're drunk. Like,
This is another one on my list. I am beyond heartbroken that I'm missing out on this one. So fantastic, amazing performances from Willem and Robert Pattinson. This one's iconic. This one needs. If I could force every single person to watch a movie, I feel like I would pick The Lighthouse for so many reasons that I honestly can't even describe.
Maybe even a watch along with somebody who digests cinema every week with me at some point.
Exactly.
Christina would hate this movie.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Tune into the watch along.
I'm full of confidence saying I don't get it. Like both from like an adoration and from the actual film, I just don't understand what the fuck is going on. It's like one of the most memeable movies in the last few years, namely just Hark. And just anything you just react to Hark and it just works. But I don't understand what the fuck is this movie.
That's fair. That's a fair summation of the movie. You can't argue that.
Haven't seen it yet. Sorry.
I like this movie a lot. I feel like I should love it. Like it should be like it become a favorite. There's a couple of things that I don't know why it just doesn't connect with me the same way it does with everyone else. It's still a fantastic movie, and Willem Dafoe is maybe my favorite actor of all time. And I think he gives a masterful performance in The Lighthouse. I don't know how he did not get any sort of Academy attention, because it's a shame, it really is. But yeah, I also just love the look of this movie. I love the sound design. The sound of The Lighthouse, I think, is just so eerie and terrifying. Yeah, this is a movie that I've seen it twice, so I should maybe it's a third time it will connect. But this is a fantastic film.
I tried watching The Lighthouse once. It was on BBC iPlayer. Also, I thought. After I got 25 minutes into the film, going, once it turned into black and white, because it wasn't that one, it was the 2016 British one, which was ultra shit. So I spent there 25 minutes going, where the fuck's Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe? I thought this was like black and white and meant to be like.
It took you 25 minutes?
I was expecting it just like build up.
It's like reverse Wizard of Oz, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But it had the same year-ish, so I was just like, okay, it must be coming. Then I realized it's not coming.
All right, so Aaron takes The Lighthouse. Spence, what is your fourth overall selection?
So I've moved on from just being like, oh, I'm picking for me. I'm just going to try and win this week. So I'm going to go with maybe the most popular A24 film. The better of the two Safdie brothers films, if you were. Uncut Gems is such a great fucking movie. It also produced maybe my favorite Letterboxd review I've ever written. This movie made me care about basketball, which is surprisingly difficult. But it's this great. It goes in the same conversation with A24 or with 8th Grade of this wonderful comprehension of anxiety and what that feels like. And I wish I could pick Ship a Baby this week, but Uncut Gems is fan-fucking-tastic. And it's a movie that I love more and more on rewatch. That I feel like once I actually sit down and rewatch it, 5 stars, no question, immaculate. And also shout out to fucking Idina Menzel, who can do no wrong besides rent the movie. Other than that, absolute queen. Yeah.
The second time I saw this movie in theaters, I ate an edible beforehand, and I had already I'd seen the movie already. I knew everything that was going to happen, and for some reason it changed it into the most horrific movie I've ever seen in theaters. 20 minutes in, I had to leave and go home, sit on my living room floor and just stare at the ceiling and then go to sleep at 8 p.m. That was absolutely 0 out of 10 for that experience, but definitely 5 stars for the movie. I love it. That was also on my list.
Yeah, this movie is tremendous. It is A24 doing what A24 does best, which is authentic representation of who they're talking about. And there's just certain lines in this movie that I can bring up that I'm just like, this was written by Jews about Jews. And particularly when he's having the interaction with Kevin Garnett, and Kevin Garnett's like, what is it with Jews and basketball? It's literally a conversation I have had with my friends before where they're like, why are Jews so obsessed with basketball when they cannot play? They have no, it's ingrained with our culture with African Americans and Jews. It's just something that connected us together from the jump was basketball. And it's just this movie has that through line in it that I'm not sure people who aren't Jewish even recognize or see it, but I just appreciate it from my perspective. And it's always funny to hear Gubbins talk about how stressful this movie is, because this is just being a Jew, you guys. This is a Jew with impulse problems. That's all. So I'm very comfortable with that in my own life.
This movie caused me a headache.
Jewish.
Fun fact, this did not get a release here. If for some reason, I think it was going to, and then they got rid of it because it wasn't getting enough attention, and then they decided, we'll just put it on Netflix at the beginning of 2020. And I'm glad they did, but because I was like, day it comes out, I'm gonna watch it, and I did, and I thought it was great. I like Good Time more, just personally. That's a film that it's for me, it's easier to watch. I like to go back to that one more. But Uncut Gems is just visually, it's fantastic. Story wise, the fact that it takes place during an interesting time it's 2012 is the year it takes place, because it's Back when the
Yeah,
weekend
yeah,
was
during
still
the Eastern
early and-
Conference semifinals, 2012. Yeah.
I'm not a sports guy, so I just like that it takes place in like that small little thing without being a sports person about it. But I also just love that I mean, I'm not Jewish, unfortunately, but I do love how it goes into the Jewish culture of that. And Judd Hirsch is always good to see him in a movie like this. He was in Independence Day Resurgence, and then just to see him in a Safdie Bros film is fun. And shout out The Weeknd and shout out the Madonna song Rain.
Oh my God, that song, is that the song he was playing in the club? Or like what song, whatever song The Weeknd's playing in the club, it's so bad. And I think that's a great part of the movie because it's before he was famous. So he's just like some hack club act. And it's like for him to have that sense of humor about himself and then do what he does in the bathroom after that. Like it's celebrities not afraid to make an ass out of themselves. Kevin Garnett does not come out.
Kevin Garnett, oh my God.
Like, it's just like and they're playing themselves. And it's just like they have enough sense of humor to like completely make themselves look terrible. Both him and The Weeknd.
All right. Uncut Gems goes on to Spence's squad, which gotta say, pretty strong squad so far there, bud.
I'm trying to win now.
Tony.
All right, for me, I think I'm gonna stop Scott Harvey from having a heart attack in the chat. I think I gotta do this and pull the trigger. I'm not the biggest fan of this director. I think that her work is a bit overplayed, and I've said many a time that her partner is the most pretentious wank cat director to ever pretentiously wank. However, I can't deny the incredible beauty of Laurie Metcalf and Saoirse Ronan's relationship. Lady Bird is like
this was supposed to be Spence's fifth pick, though.
No, it wasn't actually.
Like, probably would have ran away with the poll had it been though.
That's what I'm saying. Like it seems like that's the 5 you put in the poll to win it. It's like Lady Bird's like the tapper. Sorry, go ahead, Tony. On your show.
It's just everyone in the cast just does such an amazing job. Being in Feldstein is great. I think every time this movie comes up, I always mention Steve McKinley Henderson as just like he should have been a Richard Kind type of character actor, just appearing in every single thing you'll ever see. And it's a shame that he hasn't. It just works so wonderfully. And yeah.
I gotta say the part at the airport where she does the loop around and there's no words. It's just Laura Metcalf just reacting like thinking, and then you just recognize everything she's going through. Beautiful perfection.
It has nothing on the Booksmart airport scene where she's just crying in the car. You want to get pancakes? Fuck yeah, pancakes. But like this is a movie I didn't really like the first time I watched it, but I rewatched it at the start of the pandemic, and it sat with me, and it grew a lot more on that rewatch. And like honestly, yeah, like this is the number 5. Like yeah, you pick this to win, but it's a really good pick.
No, it is. Personal problem for me. No matter how many times I've seen this movie, which has only been twice or 3 times now, I can't get the movie Superstar out of my head for some reason with Molly Shannon. And I feel like that's the better Catholic school movie of these 2 movies for me. So like, I just can't get it out of my head. I can't get like Will Ferrell playing a high schooler. I think it's always kept me from fully loving Lady Bird in all seriousness. Is like I think of Will Ferrell like in high school as a 50-year-old and think so. These have nothing to do with the movie. Needless to say, good choice.
I like the movie. I don't love it. It's fine. It's a film I really wish I did love because everyone has gone crazy over it, and all the power to you guys. But just it's not a film that I personally really connect with. I would love to watch. I love this movie. I love Saoirse Ronan. I love Laurie Metcalf. They both are fantastic in this movie. I think the screenplay is great. I just don't really. It's not a film for me. It's not one that I have really been able to get into. I think Little Women is a masterpiece. I think that film's much better, but that is a personal opinion. But yeah.
This is definitely a film for me with the whole angsty, really annoying teenager. I absolutely love it. I love looking back at myself and cringing at everything I did. But I really like it from like the mother-daughter angle of it. That's the thing I resonate with probably the most. So I really enjoy it, and I like Gerwig as a director. But in terms of A24, it's in like the mid-level for me.
Yeah, this is my brother's favorite A24 movie because he hates Subversion of Expectations. So this is like one of those A24 movies for people who don't like A24. Like, give them Lady Bird. They'll probably like that just fine.
All right, Jake, over to you for your fourth round pick.
So I've picked a couple. I've picked a few downers. You could say. You know, I'm a fan of films that make you feel kind of shitty, but you grow as a person. But I'm gonna pick a more lighthearted movie, just a little bit lighthearted because it's still a little downer. I'm gonna pick one of my favorite coming of age movies, a film that I like to go back to. I'm picking The Spectacular Now.
Yeah.
This. What's his name? Sutter and Amy are like they are two of my favorite characters. There's a lot that I see in me in them, and I just really love their relationship as it kind of blossoms and how they influence each other and how the relationship feels so real. The way that Sutter is an alcoholic and how he likes to drink, how he likes to party, I see a lot of that in me, both good and bad. And how Amy is very shy and naive and is kind of a geek. I see a lot of that in me, and kind of seeing both of them evolve and influence each other, both good and bad. I think that's it's a really beautiful relationship, and I also just love Sutter's relationship with his mom and finding his father. And it's one of those really nice films that I just really that resonates with me, and I would like to watch it again because it's just talking about it just makes me want to go see it again because it's just really nice, and I also just think the ending is perfect. So
Yeah, it's weird seeing Coach Taylor from Friday Night Lights as a dirtbag, but he pulls it off.
This is a movie that ages like wine. I think because this isn't like, I think a lot of coming of age films you can see in high school and you're like, oh yeah, this feels like it's being my generation. This is not something you watch in high school. It's something you watch like a couple years after and just realize this is such like a mature film because it truly shows you like, hey, some teenagers are absolute dickheads and go through awful shit, and they're maturing and they're getting through it, and even through like their toxicity and sometimes they're bad for each other, they still make each other better people in the end. And again, like that ending is sort of the culmination of it all. Like when I first watched it, I was so anti Sutter because like, yeah, he's a dick, but that's the point of the film, and it's about these teenagers who go through things a lot of us go through and being better from it and finding the right person to help you out, even if they're not meant to be there with you forever. This is just so adult and incredible.
I'm probably the only person that doesn't like this movie, I guess. I don't know why. And I've talked about it. I've seen it, I think maybe twice or three times at this point. And I have just found both of them to be so insufferable to me to the point where I can't attach myself to the story. Well, like in completely different ways, like him being a douchebag, her being just so naive and like vulnerable and annoying. But I appreciate that because I love like complex characters. I love having a main character that isn't necessarily like good, and them learning stuff at the end. This film just doesn't work for me. Maybe I'll give it a rewatch because people always get so mad at me when I say this. But I respect it. I like Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley together in this one. I feel like their chemistry is really good for what they're supposed to have with their characters, but I don't like it.
And they're still buddies to this day since the movie because they were just in Hawaii with Aaron Rodgers a couple weeks ago.
Probably, yeah.
What the fuck?
Because Miles Teller was in Divergent too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they worked
But
together.
he's in that
for
franchise.
times. Yeah. In Chicago.
In Chicago, yeah. All right, Sabrina, close out round number 4 for us. Did the one you were targeting get back around to you?
All right. I lost a lot of my picks, but I still have really, really great ones that I love. So another one that I really love is Green Room, starring Anton Yelchin, Patrick Stewart. I think having that mix of like punk, horror, cat and mouse, like all of those elements just work really, really well. And I feel like this is a film that I watch and I like cringe the entire time, but I'm absolutely glued to the screen. I think everything from the pacing to the score, it's ridiculously haunting and it is so damn good. So Green Room is my choice.
All right. I haven't seen this one,
This
so
is-
the panel have at it.
This is one of the few A24 that I actually don't love or like even really like. I watched it a couple times now. Everything on paper I should really like about it. I used to be very into like the punk scene back in the day. Love Anton Yelchin. I like horror. I like body horror. All the above. Like, I like the brutality. I love Jeremy Saulnier's Blue Ruin. I really like. I was all set to love this. I love Patrick Stewart. Nazis suck, so it's great to see them getting the fucking shit end of the stick. But I just didn't find anything that made me understand why this movie was really made. I just was like, this is like, this is high pace and everything, but like I just didn't see what made this like different than any other like trapped in a place with shitty people movie. And they're also dumb. And the jujitsu they did in the movie, it was completely fake, and just completely took me out of the movie. That armbar he pulled off never would have worked that way. Completely not sunk in correctly.
This movie fucking rocks. There's such a great, like, for me, this is the perfect double feature with like 10 Cloverfield Lane, of like this tight movie of just like people who you, and like even like the original, like you don't know like how good like even these band members are, and seeing them be put in the worst possible situation, surrounded by some of the worst people, and having to fight their way out through utter terror is fucking immaculate. I haven't seen any of Saulnier's other films, but this is such like a high bar to clear for me.
Blue Ruin's pretty fun. I think it's on Netflix too, but yeah, pretty crazy. But I mean, I get why people like it. I just didn't. I've seen it a couple times now. I want to like it. This is the A24 movie I want to like more than any other one. That I just.
It's got to be the armbar thing.
I think it really is that mixed martial. I mean, I'm telling you that it was so loose, and I'm like, dude, that's not how you do a flying. Anyway, sorry.
I want to watch this movie. I was kind of turned off by watching it. Someone said that they didn't like it, or like the reception behind it was a little polarizing. So that made me just kind of go, and that was also during the time when I was like still figuring out who A24 was. But yeah, I've got to give this one a watch.
All right. That closes out round number 4. That's all right. Did I just cut somebody off?
All right, yeah, I was just gonna say, Patrick Stewart's just be evil against someone that's in the new Star Trek. Yes, please, just more of that.
All right, a comment well worth waiting for. All right, end of round 4. Tony.
Then.
One last recap for the folks at home, please.
Yeah, round 4. So Aaron went first round. He went with the Lighthouse. Adelaide went second. They went with Uncut Gems. I went with Ladybird. Jake went with A Spectacular Now, and Sabrina went with Green Room as we go to our final round.
Yes, fifth and final round, guys. Last one to put on your squad. Sabrina, I know you got to get out of here, so go ahead and make your pick, and then do your plugs. Anything you want to promote, anywhere you want to point people to, what have you.
Sounds good. All right. My next choice is something that does not fit with any of the rest of the films that I have on this at all, in any way, shape, or form, but I have to go with it. Minari. I think it's one of the best films that has come out in the last year. Honestly, the last decade. Lee Isaac Chung is so patient and quiet and meditative with this story. It is extremely profound and impactful. And like, I'm a first generation American, so I like resonated with that from the stories that my family have told since they came over here. So this is one that I absolutely love. And also it's so interesting because I love stuff that kind of like tackles things like the American dream and the idea of what it is to like be in this country and to make it in this country. And I think Minari does that so wonderfully and so beautifully.
This is a great pick. I think it's a shame how it was kind of marketed and treated by both the Academy and just in general as this like movie that's a foreign language film because it's about a Korean family. It was just so mind blowing to me. Like it affected hugely an audience seeing this movie, which sucks because it's just a movie about a tremendous family that's faced hardships set in the 80s in a way that I think the 80s have not been portrayed often. It was not in this Stranger Things style, but just in a way where this took place in the 80s and it didn't need to identify and point it out every 5 seconds. It just was. But yeah, this movie is great. I think that way more people need to have seen it. And I just think the way that still, even if it was a foreign language film, which it isn't, but like the way that we treat stories when it isn't by people that look like us is really, really bizarre to me. And I think a big reason why a lot of the A24 movies that aren't as seen by people. I don't want to see one of the other ones in case it's selected, but I'll definitely be bringing that up if no one mentions it, because it's another one that I think people judge on the title or judged on the people who are in it and then are like, this isn't for me, I shouldn't see it, which is the worst way to go about movies. But I think Minari is a huge example of that. More people should see it. It's a beautiful story. Great choice.
Remember when the Golden Globes put Minari in the Best Foreign Language Film category,
Right.
despite the fact that this film is American, directed by an American, written by an American.
But he's not Asian. He's Asian, though. He doesn't look American.
One of the most...
You're like, wait,
baffling
they
things.
don't speak English at points in the movie. This is clearly a foreign language film.
Yeah, it's
that just infuriated me so much in that.
You know what's more of a foreign language film than this? Inglourious Bastards. No one
Yeah,
fucking
honestly,
no one cares.
Seriously, but those are white
Yeah.
people. Those are white people, so we're comfortable.
It's fair point.
Brad Pitt is not in Minari, unfortunately.
God, I'm with my people here. I can just like loosen my pretentious belt and just like completely let my pretentious ass gut overflow. This is good to be here.
This is a film that I guarantee I'm going to watch a second time because I really, really liked this movie on the first time. I saw the double feature on my birthday this year with Nomadland. My boy Michael Campbell came by and we watched those two films in the theaters. But Minari was my favorite of the two that we watched, and it's a film that I really want to watch again and kind of connect with more because, like, my dad grew up on a farm. He experienced, a very similar situation as the family in Minari, and I feel like there's a more connection that I can get from the movie. My family are immigrants, so it was cool to see. It's cool to see those type of stories and kind of be like, yeah, wanting to start new, wanting to start something different, and I think that's something that I can really. I feel like I'm going to connect to more on a second viewing. So yeah.
This is actually the movie that I actually got to watch to prep for this. I'm surprised I liked it as much as I did because I get, like Peggy said, I don't like slice of life films. I'm not really like a plot here. It's just people living and dealing with the shit of living, and it's really good and really engaging. I think the whole cast is phenomenal. I don't love this. It on like the actual formatting for Letterboxd is like barely in the top 16 for me, but it's really good. But it also that speaks to like the absolute quality that the studio puts out.
I'll be honest, I kind of fell in with the trap of the advertising of this and just going, you had a South Korean film that did well in the Oscars last year. Now here's like 20 other South Korean films. It just felt like, so I kind of I didn't touch Minari. Just going, it's just the next one of the trying to be Parasite.
First of all, watch all of those South Korean films because South Korean films are like some of the best you will watch like ever. That's first of all. But second of all,
I just fell into that.
Second of all, fuck
addiction.
you.
I didn't say that.
You meant it though. It's fine.
This is the happiest I've ever been on this show by far. Are you kidding me?
Well, I might be dampering your fun a little bit because I think Sabrina does need to bounce. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. So, any plugs you want to promote before you get out of here? The floor is yours to promote whatever.
All right. You guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Sabrina X Monica. Also on Twitter at Sabrina on Film if you're interested in hearing my thoughts about movies. And then also the First Cut YouTube channel, The Meaning of Podcast with Robert Butler III and Andres Cabrera. The Geeks of Color website, Geeks of Color YouTube account. Goddamn, I have my interview for The Green Knight with Dev Patel and Joel Edgerton. So that's up on the Geeks of Color YouTube. And then patreon.com/Sabrina on Film. There are so many plugs. I'm sorry, guys. I'm taking 20 minutes on this. Patreon.com/Sabrina on Film. I have a film club. We hang out. Aaron's a part of it. We meet up. We have themes. We talk about film. It is so much fun. And yeah, I think that's basically it. Cocktails and Casting with Ben Goddard as well.
That's it. Just 25 things.
There's more. There's more. I'm not even playing.
It's all good.
She's got to go do one of those 25 things.
Yes, I do.
Sabrina, thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. Bye, guys. Good luck with the rest of your list.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Let's move over to Jake for his fifth and final pick. What you got, bud?
Damn, I was going to pick one film from 2019 that I really, 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 really love. but I'm going to pick from 2018 that was released in 2019 that I really, 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 really love. That I feel like I had to go with this one because it's a film that once it came out, I knew that this is going to be this isn't a movie. This is an experience. This is a film where you watch it and you go, yeah, this is what it feels like to take LSD. I'm going with Climax.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I feel like in a way I'm saving best for last. This is a trip. This is more of an experience than any film you'll probably ever see. The way Gaspar Noé uses cinematography and music to create this disturbing sensory overload is just so incredible. I've always loved Gaspar Noé's filmmaking style. It's just you cannot find any sort of director making films like him. He's in a league of his own as far as his style goes. I think Climax is maybe his magnum opus. I need to rewatch Enter the Void because it's been way too long since I've seen that. But Climax is the way the first 10, 15 minutes is just introducing every character, why they love to dance. And then after that, this incredible dance sequence. This dance sequence is this entire long take that just goes by and it's just like perfect choreography. And after that, it's just these amazing long takes, seeing the whole studio, seeing them all just partying, having sangria. And then about 30 minutes into the movie, we finally get the opening credits of the movie. The director, I just love that Gaspar Noé's like, yeah, I don't care about opening credits. I'm just going to have... He has the end credits first, and then the opening credits like 30 minutes into the movie. We have this nice shot that just circles around the characters dancing, and then bang, the electronic music, which I'm a big fan of electronic music, so I just love his choices there. And then after that, someone spikes the sangria with LSD and everyone goes crazy. There's violence. There's shit that goes on that should never ever happen. And it's a fun trip. I love this movie. It's an experience. It's amazing. Everyone go see Climax. It will shake you.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one. Aaron, Spence, Tony?
Yeah, I've seen this one. Love Gaspar Noé. Was introduced to him with Enter the Void. Enter the Void for me will always have a special spot in my heart, just because there's just no one like Gaspar. He really is provocative with his filmmaking, with kind of the subject matters that are breached in these conversations, and just it's so many different types of dancers in this movie, and the way that I'm not a huge dance connoisseur, but I admire dance like a lot. So the way that all these are able to work together with this music that I don't even particularly like, I'm not a fan of electronic music, and it still all works. It is so many movies get called a trip. This is one of like the 3 to 4 like in the psychedelic like Hall of Fame with Midsommar is Climax. It's such a great time. And when the title sequence, like 35 minutes in, it's like, oh yeah, it's like I forgot to put this in here. It doesn't even like fit where they put it.
Shit.
Like, I have to mention the title at some point, I guess. So here you go. Like, it starts out as like with like that VHS like overload, like
with the interviews. That's just such a cool style. I just love that. I don't think I've seen a film like that do that. It's so cool. And you can see like really other movies because it's like the cupboard. I think you can see Suspiria, which is always cool to see like little references like that. But yeah, I just think this one of my favorite like stylization.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
I have seen one Gaspar Noé film, and it's his glorified porno Love. And since then, I have been so averse.
That one?
I was 16, Jake. What do you think? And you know what? It was a bad decision. I don't want to ever watch another Gaspar Noé film again after that. So I don't know if I'll ever see this.
That's fair.
He's an interesting director. He's an interesting fellow.
A director that
interesting is a little understatement there.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Climax completes Jake's team. Tony, what are you taking to complete yours?
All right. I'm gonna go with my worst film experience of all time.
What?
So, last year, traumatic experience with a family member is So I've sat down and went, oh, I'm going to watch a movie. I'm just going to relax, set my mind away. I'll watch something. Oh, The Last from Crazy Rich Asians has a film out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give that a watch. I legitimately, I couldn't turn it away. It was one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen. Just the way that family works. But I have not been broken by a film ever in my life as much as The Farewell. That just, it was just absolute gut punch after gut punch, and it's still like I don't think I can ever rewatch it because they'll just go back to the flows. But it was just a beautiful, beautiful film. Just all the acting in it is incredible. The Nanai is just the way that she does it is so realistic. It was just remarkable, and yeah, I just needed to give that some love.
Yeah, great pick. It's one that I think is really great to talk to with a lot of people like my age or a little bit younger, because we're kind of being introduced to a lot of us are being introduced to the problems that the main character is dealing with in a way in this movie at this point in our lives. I lost my dad when I was very young, so I kind of was introduced to the whole mortality of like the people closest to me a little bit too soon, but most people like get to that maybe in their teens or like 20s, like the Farewell character. I just think this movie is really, it's there for you when you need it to be there for you. And even if you like, a lot of people have come into it like you, I think, not ready for what it was, but it's like you get a lot out of the experience, and it's definitely a very good one to me too. Wasn't gonna be picked by me, but I'm glad it did get picked. I think it's a great choice. And another one where like A24 shows, they don't have to go subversion through dark means to subvert your expectations. They can be pretty wholesome with it as well. Minari, another example of that. Room. You've got like two of the examples on your list, so props.
This is the pick I was also thinking of. I was like, it was between Climax and The Farewell, and I decided to go with the film that was more catered for me. I remember going to the cinema and going, okay, everyone's saying The Farewell is great. I'll be the judge of that. Like I'm the one who's going to decide if this movie's good or not. And then the last, literally the last scene, I went, oh my God. Like I was not expecting that ending. I know some people personally don't like that, but that ending, but I thought that maybe that was like a sigh of relief. I was like, oh, I can breathe now, which is really cool. It's a great experience to watch that movie, both good and bad, the way that film kind of builds. And I love that it details different cultures, specifically American culture and Chinese culture, and how certain traditions play out, and how things that seem normal for one culture is completely different to another, and seem like, why are we doing this? But this is how certain cultures do. This is how they do it, and it also just works. It just makes an intriguing premise for a movie. Just like knowing this information and wanting to tell this person, and knowing you shouldn't, you can't. And yeah, the whole wedding, I also just love that they just decide to have the wedding early. Is great, and it's just like there's this level. I don't know. It's like this level of awkwardness that I also just find weirdly funny, but it also just feels beautiful that she gets to see the wedding. But yeah, this movie is fantastic. And I'm going to be doing the dance thing that whatever Nana's doing. It's great. It's awesome.
This great movie. One of the rare films I've seen twice, which is a weird phrase, but I say it a lot. It's fantastic, and it's a film that I think. To me, it's weird that it works so well on the second watch, because you're expecting, oh yeah, it's all this build up and just sadness, and then you just feel like on the second time around, it's just like, oh, I already know how to feel. But it still really works, and you pick up on the humor of it all. And I'm not sure if you guys said it before, but I think the whole narrative, as well as, I'm forgetting the character name, but like Awkwafina having to go through and deal with like the otherism of being a Chinese American and not just a Chinese person, and how she feels sort of separated from her family, is just such like an inherently interesting part of the story that I feel myself the most like attracted to on the rewatch.
Wake up!
That was my alarm again. Yeah.
The second emergency alarm.
That's why the first alarm is like, okay, I've got an hour and a bit. Okay, cool. And then that's the alarm that wakes me up.
Yeah, this is really like, now we gotta get up.
Tony, we're gonna say one last thought on the farewell.
Nah, I was just gonna say, I'm at some point I'll go back and rewatch it and just feel that experience. But it's like it was just the wrong movie at the right time, and it's just like, oh dear God, it broke me. And it's weird as well because obviously it's about Chinese culture and stuff like that, but it's just like the similarities between that and my family's all Irish, so there's that, and the similarities, differences was really interesting as well, seeing that as it was going on in my life as well, so to be able to go compare and contrast, it was really interesting. Yeah.
All right, cool. Tony's team is complete. Spence, time to complete yours. What are you going with?
So I don't think there's like a great obvious pick. I think there's one. I will say, like, if I wanted to buy Scott Harvey's vote, I would pick the Florida Project. I'm gonna try and buy his vote a different way, though.
I mean, you've already won his vote by picking Lady Bird.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm gonna pick a documentary that I'm pretty sure that the two non-Americans over here would just not give a fuck about. But I think, to me, it is one of the most interesting political discussions as someone who is invested in politics that I've seen in a long time. I saw at the very beginning of quarantine because fucking Apple TV said, you know what, I'm going to buy the movies that you care about. So I got them for one day and watched two things, Wolfwalkers and Boys State, which is one of the most incredible documentaries I have ever seen. I don't really love documentaries, but this just spoke to me, and I can't really explain it other than just like, I think the idea of this indoctrination, specifically of like our American youth, in like thinking republicanism is cool, and basically using it as a joke that eventually like makes them adults where they're serious about it, and how it all starts here, how this camp to breed future senators and presidents and everything in between, and how just like this both like mix of optimism and pure abject terror of the future of America in their political beliefs, and even coming down to just a dude who is embodying a lot of like the new Republican Party ideologies versus this guy who just starts by being moderate and just wanting gun reform to being like the most strong liberal person that they have. And it's harrowing and it's brilliant, and I wish I could see more films like this talking about the youth of America today.
Yeah, I'm probably the only one seen this, but I did like it quite a bit. I was expecting to be pretty bored by it. I live in Washington, D.C., so I hear a lot about politics, but I think the perspective they used in this was really effective. And once I didn't know it was A24 going into it, but then I was like, oh, you know, but after I was done, I was like, it makes sense that A24 would pick this up as a documentary. It's pretty subverts your expectations of what a political documentary kind of would be. So I love this pick. I think it's a great pick.
I've been meaning to watch it. Yeah.
I didn't even know this movie existed till right now.
It
does sound interesting. I mean, I'm not a big political person, so anytime a film tackles politics, I'm usually less intrigued by it. But based on what you were saying, it does sound interesting. Definitely worth a shot.
Scott really liked it, and I think Paul did too, but I can't find his review. Or no, he did, yeah. So Paul and Scott both really liked it. So come on, Jake, you have to watch it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll definitely add it to the watch list.
Pressured by Paul and Scott.
Yeah. Like, here's the thing. I could have been weird, but I want to be like, no, like I hear something like unconventional and different.
We get it. You already won the poll, so you can just throw it away with
yeah.
We understand that. We know how this works. It's like, oh, look at how risky I am with one pick as others for. Yeah, you're so crazy.
That's what the fifth pick is for sometimes.
That's right. I get it. It's an approach. Should I go with my fifth? Sorry.
Yes, we have reached the end of the draft. Fifth pick for Aaron and the final pick of the draft. What are you closing out the show with?
It's funny because I have 5 left on my list that I would really pick as my pick here. I could turn in this. No, I know. I could turn in this list right here as my 5, and I would be okay with it. It's A24. Yes. This whole conversation has been a pleasure. So thank you for having me on, first and foremost. If I wasn't on, I would be in tears right now, not being able to be part of this, and you would have to hear about it for a long time. So good call by you guys too. This is really tough. I'm legitimately stuck between 4 of these. I'm gonna go with the one that I feel that not enough people have seen. Unfortunately, it's not on Netflix anymore. But it was made for $30,000. This guy's gone on to make 2 more A24 movies, which I liked both of them very much as well. Sorry, Willa is deciding to scratch her. Hey, Willa, thanks. Anyways, it is Krisha. This is Trey Edward Schultz's film debut. It takes place at Thanksgiving. It's about an addict who goes home to her family for the first time in several years and has a relapse while at home. And it is, most of the actors in this movie are just played by Trey Edward Schultz's actual family members. They are not actors. It's filmed at one of their family homes. And the way that at one point, Krisha, she's working on the turkey and it's flying around the circular kitchen, the way that the camera just completely envelops you in this character's psychosis and stress and everything. If you have experience of family members with addiction, or if you yourself have addiction issues, I think this is going to bring up some very real demons. Krisha Fairchild, who plays Krisha in the movie, was an addict herself. I believe she was Trey Edward Schultz's aunt, actually, but she plays Trey Edward Schultz's mother in the movie. And there's a whole bunch of stuff with her abandoning her child and everything. And it is not action heavy. It is almost all conversation, but it was made for $30,000 and launched, I think, a really amazing mind in Trey Edward Schultz, who went on to do Waves, which is another one of my favorite movies by him. But yeah, I just think this is a movie that not enough people have seen. It's 80 minutes long. You're either going to personally respond to it, or most likely you're going to know of a family member who you can be like, oh, that's Krisha in my family. And it's just, yeah, it's a great movie, really powerful. And it'd be amongst my top 5, but it's just one I do not hear people mention. So, I wanted to have it part of my list.
Well, yeah, I hadn't heard about it until you just now said the title of the movie. So
when I heard the title, I was like some Indian movie about like some guru or something. And again, this was a few years ago when I was much more closed-minded. But it's just, this is, I think, one of the most unfortunately relatable movies that I think has been brought up today, because everybody has a family member who has an issue with this, and particularly Krisha's is with alcohol. And the way that it's portrayed in this movie, it's really beautiful. And $30,000, like, I just love when a filmmaker does not need money to make a tremendously powerful film.
I've been wanting to watch this for the longest time. I know I talked to you about it before this, Aaron. But, I really love both of Schultz's other 2 films.
Yeah.
So this is very high on the watch list.
Yeah, I really recommend it.
I still need to get into Trey Edward Schultz. I haven't seen It Comes at Night. I haven't seen Waves. Waves got bastardized. Did not get released at all.
You would love Waves.
I think I'm gonna love Waves. I know it's on one of the streaming services here, so I've just got to put time out and watch the 3 Trey Edward Schultz films, because I think It Comes at Night is also on streaming service. Krisha is definitely a film I would like to watch. I remember watching the trailer back in 2015 and thinking that this is just some independent movie. I'm never gonna watch this, and then seeing that he has as interesting of a career after that, it's definitely made me kind of want to watch the movie now. So, and the fact, you're right, Aaron. Like, for a small of a budget, and looking at how technically minded he is as a filmmaker and how good his movies look, it's definitely one that I should be inclined to watch. So yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah, and the interviews afterwards are really great. I recommend that also with the movie, is to just really Trey Edward Schultz, when he's talking with Krisha about how this movie really applies to their real lives. It's pretty pretty tremendous. You can tell that it was like a therapy session essentially for the people who are participating too. So, I mean, yeah, I'm glad I could bring it up.
Well, I'm glad you could bring it up too, because I had never heard of it. And we've reached the end of the draft.
What a draft.
Tony, let's see how the teams turned out.
Absolutely. All right, so Sabrina was first overall, and she went with Hereditary, A Ghost Story, Under the Silver Lake, Green Room, and Minari. Jake went second. He went with Good Times, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, First Reform, The Spectacular Now, and Climax. I was in the middle there. I went Room, Amy, Saint Maud, Ladybird, and The Farewell. Adelaide was fourth. They went with Moonlight, Ex Machina, 8th Grade, Uncut Gems, and Boy State. And finally, Aaron on the end. Lobster, Midsommar, The Green Knight, The Lighthouse, and Cruise Ship.
Anyone who's seen The Green Knight, I hate you all. Yeah, I hate you all so much.
I've seen it 3 times.
So jelly. I hate that so much.
Oh, I can breathe. I can breathe just because my list is what I wanted it to be. Somehow, some way, I was able to avoid all the landmines and get the list I actually want. That's the 5 I wrote up before this. But honorable mentions.
Hang on a second. My show, not yours. Hang on. Hey, everyone in the chat.
Today it's mine.
They missed on picking out. What should have been drafted today? What would you have drafted had you been a panelist? And we're gonna go around the horn and do honorable mentions. Not just Aaron, take it away. I'm gonna go with Spence first. Then we're gonna go clockwise. Spence, what were your honorable mentions?
So the weird ones I wanted to pick, but I didn't feel confident in, were Swiss Army Man, Under the Skin. Fuck Barely Lethal. No. But yeah, those ones I loved to pieces, but I know they would have lost me the poll, so I'll just say them now. I'll also say also if I could have picked the 2 Euphoria episodes, I would have picked both of them because they're masterpieces. But the 2 that weren't mentioned today that I absolutely hate, Dark Places and While We're Young. Everything else I actually like to an extent.
And then Spence, anything you got to promote? Anything you want to plug?
No, but a match just dropped over on Untitled that you can watch once this wraps up. Our second team's match between Con of the Dead, Jay Burns and Mark Meyer versus Princess Mononoke types, which is Michael Campbell and Kelly Meehan. the number 2 and 1 Australia respectively.
I can't even argue with that.
All right, cool. Now over to Aaron for his honorable mentions and anything that you need to plug, buddy.
Yeah, this isn't my show. Sorry, I forgot that it wasn't. It's just there's been so many movies talked about in a row that I felt like it was.
Worries.
My honorable mentions: Enemy, Denis Villeneuve, and Jake Gyllenhaal. It's early A24, and it's just so great. It's one that took me like 4 or 5 times to watch to understand at all, and I still don't understand it well enough to like explain it to anybody else. So I guess maybe I don't quite get it yet, but every time I watch it, I like it a little bit more. The Witch, I have the script literally right under me. I love the movie. It's great. 20th Century Women, that was another one of the movies I was talking about with Minari, where I think the title has caused people not to see it, particularly men. They think it's called 20th Century Women. It's not for me. I'm not going to understand it. And it is like one of the best kind of coming of age movies that I've ever seen, frankly. I think
if it was 21st century women, they would be on board.
Exactly. Not these 19. Yeah, exactly. And then mid-90s, I was a skater growing up. This is my culture just on screen, beautifully done. And just, it's a great movie. Under the Skin, too.
Hell yeah.
Over to sorry, Aaron. Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to
plug? Just if you're into MMA, Aaron the Dog MMA channel on live like 3 times a week. So if you're Facebook friends with me and haven't noticed that already, then you're not paying attention. But either way, that's the channel if you want to subscribe to that. Aaron the Dog MMA on YouTube.
Cool. Jake, over to you. Honorable mentions. Anything you want to plug and promote?
Yeah, The Farewell was one I was going to pick, but that got taken. Swiss Army Man, as Adelaide said. Under the Skin, as Aaron said. Spring Breakers, like that was a quintessential film for me as a teenager. That was a film that I had contemplated. Mississippi Grind, which no one ever talks about. That is, I think, a really, really nice little film. That's
Ryan Reynolds?
And Ben Mendelsohn, yes. those are pretty much the films that I was, as far as, and with what everyone else said, those were my honorable mentions. Not much to plug. You can find me on Twitter at Pretentious Hack, with being H caps. I was recently in a number 1 contenders match over in Adelaide's channel on Ontool. Watched that match. I played Meltzer. Very good player. And also I've got a teams match which was recorded months ago, so I don't want people to think that this is the same time as that Meltzer match and the Red Show match, because they're very different performances. But I'm looking forward to that, see people see that teams match. And yeah, that's about it.
It's coming out on the 11th. Yes.
11th.
Nice.
Next week.
So guys, keep your eyes out for that. Tony, what's coming up on the channel, and what would you have drafted had you had more picks?
So 2 from me that haven't been mentioned. Free Fire, I think, is a delightful comedy. I think it's really well done. Whitley is a really fantastic director that, like, if you can get to watch High Rise or Field in England, they are incredible. But instead, he's now doing the Meg 2.
Hell yeah.
Really interesting.
Hell yeah.
That got a sequel?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
And Oasis Supersonic, Oasis is one of my favorite bands of all time. That documentary does so well at just picking the pieces of, like, so much documents about them to create a story. So that's the 2 that I would recommend. And then just quickly, something in the chat. This randomer Solo Rocks, apparently. Honorable mentions. First Scout Enemy, but last Black Man in San Francisco. Disaster Artist Mid-90s and the Last Movie Star. Then Spring Breakers, Most Violent Year, The Fucking Witch, Florida Project 2010, Women, and then Florida Project Waves, End of Tour, and The Witch. For the channel, so Marvel Trust Belgium was last Sunday, so if you are interested in that, 40 questions all about superhero films, that's available if you go either on the video itself or on the Facebook page. You'll be able to find them, all the 40 questions on your own. 15th of August, we announced the return of FPMT. It's the old-fashioned format. Get 4 players, make 2 teams, stick them in the blender, all that jazz. That's all coming back to that way. And keep your eye out. More things are coming. Digest Cinema every Monday with Aaron. Thank you for plugging that, Aaron. And and more stuff will be coming down the pipeline soon. Life is getting busy.
It's A24 week next week for Digesting Cinema.
Nice. We timed this one well then.
Yeah.
And then you can find me at Peggy People across the media or the social media platforms that I partake in. You can see me on the Movie Trivia Showdown, hopefully soon. A couple weeks, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. And then next week here on Fantasy Film Bites, next Wednesday, we are drafting movies with a Batman, which any actor who's played Batman, but not a Batman. Has to be something else. Should be an interesting one. But yeah, I think that should do it. So for myself, for Adelaide, for Aaron, Jake, Tony, and Sabrina, who left earlier, have a good week, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and please don't forget to vote.
That was
Awesome.
I thought it reeked.
Who's winning?
Let's see who wins.
You're gonna win.
nothing personal. It's really gonna matter.
Tune in next week.
You see what happens?
Brand new.
Episode?
A fantasy film fight.
Doesn't matter who wins, because they're all losers.